All right, in this video, I want to talk to you about Larry's super simple six-figure system. So, this is a story from my journey, and it was shortly after I moved to Austin, Texas in the fall of 2010. This is probably 2011, maybe 2012 or so. So, it wasn't too long after I moved to Austin. And how I discovered Larry and his system was one year, either for my birthday or for Christmas, my brother got me a couple of different magazine subscriptions or that some sort of service to where like he paid an amount and then I could select which magazine subscriptions I wanted. And since I was more interested in learning about like entrepreneurship and business and stuff, one of the magazine subscriptions I got was Home Business Opportunity. Maybe you've seen that in like Barnes and Noble or the stores. I don't even know if it's still around. But basically, the whole magazine, it's kind of a thin, uh, small to medium sized magazine, but it's basically just a magazine of a whole bunch of offers for like business opportunities and stuff. And so this came for, I guess, a year or so. And so I had collected these and I just like quickly flipped through them and stuff. And then one day after I had them all, like I had all the issues for like a year. And I think, I'm not sure if these were monthly. I think they were like quarterly or something. But I had several, or it may have been every other month, because I had like several of them, like four or six or something, or maybe even 12. And one day, I was just I was a couple of years into like tinkering on nights and weekends to figure out, some system of like making decent side hustle income from my like 9 to 5 job. And I just had a epiphany. I was like, wait a second, like, and this was many years before I knew about how my brain processed information and how I was pretty good at pattern recognition. But I had this thought that I was like, wait, I've got all these magazines, and I think I'd heard another marketer say talking about like testing and stuff and just using a data driven approach. And so I just laid out each of these magazines on my bed and started flipping through them all like at the, one page at a time and just seeing if I could spot any patterns. And I did. I noticed that there were a couple of ads that were in there every single issue. And one of them stood out, and it was this guy named Larry. And so I went to his website, and it was the same ad in every single issue. And so I came to his website, and it looked like this primitive little landing page. It looked like it was like Craigslist made in like 1996 or something. And it was a very simple page, and it just had on the left was, I think, like white background with just some text, and on the left hand side it had a couple different links to various opportunities that Larry was a part of and promoting, and then a space to join his email list, which I think was through like Aweber. And at the time he had created his own opportunity. So I reached out to him because I think he even had like his phone number or something. And I'd normally be nervous for something like that, but he replied and we hopped on a call, and I was just shocked that like this person on the internet would like take a call, and we talked to me for like an hour or something and laid out his whole system to me. But he had his own opportunity because he had been in the industry for 2 decades or something. But he laid out his whole system to me, and I couldn't believe how simple it was because I was dabbling in this online world, and he had one foot or one toe in the online world, but most of his most everything else he did offline. So this simple system, and I'll just kind of like lay it out for you as best I can illustrate it with this Google drawing. So let's just say this is his, let me see if, yeah, this is his website. And let's see if this will work. Or I don't know the best way to illustrate everything I'm going to share, but it's very simple. And but yeah, Larry's system is super duper simple. So he's like, I only have one traffic source, and then I send it to, like, he's like, I don't do anything online except this website that you see. So one traffic source, which is the magazine, which I like couldn't even wrap my head around. I was like, what? People actually like buy these magazines, and like you get enough traffic from this magazine ad where people like buy the magazine or flip through it, go to your website, and then, build your email list. So that's what this is for. Build email list. And then this, these, this text is just like if you wanted to, I guess, invest in biz ops. So he would only choose like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 different opportunities at a time, and those would be rotated based on whichever one he was in at the time. So he wouldn't have like 20 different things to choose from. And from his email list, he would, I guess I'll do it this way. From his email list, he would send one email per day. So this was his simple, 6-figure system. And when I met him, he was making, let's just, about 20,000 per month. And he had built it up to that. And to me, that was just like star money, because I was like, what? Like that would be a dream. And he was like, yeah, I'm able to do this full time. I don't work very hard. He's like, I drive a Mercedes, which might have been used, but it's like cool, nice car, lives in a house. I think he was helping pay for his daughter's college education. And I was like, wow, you're able to do all this from this stupidly simple system. So again, let's just go through the whole thing. It's one traffic source, which wasn't even Facebook, wasn't Google, wasn't SEO or anything. One traffic source, which was consistent. I think he had even created like a deal with the magazine, because he was in there every single month, and the size of his ad would vary, but the ad itself was the same. So it was a square ad, and sometimes it would be smaller, sometimes it would be bigger, but it was the same ad every single month. It was just like an image with a website link, and that was it. I don't even think it had any copy on it. Very simple. Didn't need to be a seasoned copywriter or anything. One traffic source, which is offline ads, which sent him to his online page, which was a very simple, might as well just call it a landing page or something. When you clicked into each of the opportunities, there would be like a little description to join it through his link opportunity. And then everything kind of led back to his email list though. And then when you got on his email list, he would just send one email a day, and it wasn't hypey. I think it was just like story based emails. And since he had a couple different offers to promote, he would just, I think he would write them probably in more of like a generic call to action, so that he could swap out whichever business opportunity he wanted to promote. So that gave him a little bit of variety. I believe that's the way he did it. So it's just a daily story about his life, or something that went on in his life, with a call to action to join one of his opportunities. One opportunity is not necessarily for everybody, so he had a couple in rotation, and then over time built, several, enough members in one, and then enough in another one. So he had multiple streams of quote passive income, but they're semi-passive on the front end, because you got to get people into them. But once they're a part of them, then they become more and more passive. And he had built up a consistent passive income of around $20,000 a month. Some months he'd probably make more, some months probably make less, but it all evened out to about $20,000 a month. And like that just felt good to me. I don't know if how that sits with you, but at the time, and even now, I'm just like, man, such a simple system that anybody could do. And at the time, I was thinking like, oh, I have to be some expert copywriter, which you don't really. And now you absolutely don't with ChatGPT's help. But this system is something that could probably still work, or the framework of it can still work. A lot of people I know of just send it out in one email a day or schedule it. And then they have like one main traffic source because this magazine could be swapped out for like Facebook or Google Ads or YouTube or whatever with you to to say like, hey, this is real. This is something that you could do this in. And this is the cool thing about this system is it becomes more and more and more and more leveraged the more people you get on your email list. So you're doing the same action daily, but your results over time are going to increase and get bigger and bigger and bigger with the same amount of action. And that's really a system that you want, especially if you're a one man, one woman show. That's the ideal type of business that you want. And so this is the same thing that I was able to do for myself with SEO and affiliate marketing. So, because again, I don't have a team. I don't have like a VA that I pass things off to and delegate and stuff. So I needed some sort of system to where I can dabble and tinker and promote things that I'm interested in. And those, I call them hooks in the water, those pieces of content out there can continue working for me and continue pulling in leads and sales and commissions month after month, year after year, long after I've created that content, and pull people into evergreen offers, evergreen softwares, and continue again to kind of work for me and snowball passive income for me long after I put in the effort. And that's what so this was Larry's system. He did it with offline traffic to his website, collecting, email and then emailing them back to his different offers that he's involved in. I did it through, these are all different affiliate commissions for different products and services that were all made like at the same time, kind of around the same time, because I had lots of different pieces of content out there for these different offers. So because people are interested in different things at different times and stuff, and some people are never going to be interested in one offer, some people are only interested in a certain other offer. And so that's just the way it goes. So the more pieces of content you have out there and the more content that you have about different topics, if you want to do it that way, or different products and services, the more likely a chance you have to get people's attention, intercept their, in this case, like searches that they're searching for, trying to find more information or reviews about products or services. And again, this is just how I was able to essentially like kind of mimic, duplicate Larry's system, but I did it through SEO and also through affiliate marketing. But my traffic source was SEO, and mostly through YouTube in the beginning, and then blogs and websites later. And then you kind of have both of those going at the same time. But a simple way to start is just some simple YouTube videos that's free and consistency. So I didn't have some elaborate system myself either. It was just literally making videos about the products or services that I was interested in, that I thought other people might be interested in. And eventually that led to, a couple of sales a month. That translated into, it might have been as low as $50 to $100 in a month. And then eventually that scaled up to several $100s a month. And that was pretty consistently. And then like it eventually, once I had the confidence to create more content consistently, that would scale up to more consistently like four figures per month, and hover between that and stuff. So, and the more sales I got, the more confidence I had, and the more confidence I had, the more consistent I became. And then the more consistent I became, the more consistent the amount of income I began to pull in. So it was just this cycle, you know. And so this is a recipe that I teach inside of my course, SEO Affiliate Domination. And I'm not the only one that's been able to get results. I've got tons of success stories. Some of my top students have made over six figures per year using a lot of the same strategies that I teach inside. So this is something that isn't just like made by me for me, that can't work for anybody else. This is something that other people have gone through and had success with as well. So if you're looking for a solution like that, then this is one of the simplest and like most budget friendly methods that I know of. And I've tried a lot of different things over the years, a lot of different ways to make money. And it was the thing that allowed me to go from not making much money at a job and not having much budget to start with, but just having time and able to leverage that time with a little bit of like expertise or if you want to call it that, of just basic fundamentals and doing those things consistently, and was able to kind of build some momentum. Because I don't know if this resonates with you, but it was really frustrating for me for several years in the beginning of my online marketing journey to be at my computer on nights and weekends, having all this time, not having much money, and not having any really budget or leverage to work with, but just having all this time, wanting to make some money, and like just wishing someone would point me in the right direction, because I knew I had the discipline, is I just didn't know what to do. And because there's a lot of different things again to choose from, and it's easy to get distracted or jump from one thing to the other because you think it's going to get results quicker than this other thing. But this was the method that eventually worked for me because it worked with my situation. I am kind of have a habit of doing things kind of slower than most other people. So this kind of allowed me to just sink into this truth of like, hey, it's okay that this takes time. Why? Because, and it's not like it takes forever and ever. It's just like SEO is not a overnight thing, but it doesn't, when you zoom out or fast forward in a couple of months, like SEO has always, whatever effort I've put into it, it's always paid me a positive ROI. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen. So to me, once I had enough of those results, I was like, oh, if I just kind of keep doing this, like I may not be able to see a result the first day or the first week or sometimes even the first month, but usually within like 60 to 90 days, I'll see a result. And knowing that, it gives me the confidence to make that second piece of content and the third piece of content, because the more content I make, it's going to have this exponential effect at the end of like 60 or 90 days. And if I continue past that point, then that momentum is going to continue. But if I just make a decent amount of content, wait, I'll have a little bit of a tipping point. But then if I never make any more content, then usually that momentum will slow down. And that's what a lot of people that tell them they can't really see that far into the future. Some of my students have been guilty of that. They'll dabble in implementing what they learn inside the course, give it 60, 90 days, then go do something else for 9 months. After 12 months, they realize, they get their first commission, or they get that, a couple $100, and they're like, oh man, like it's exactly what Greg said. It freaking worked. I wish I would have stuck with it so that this couple $100 would be maybe a couple $1,000 by now. And then they usually circle back around and revisit the information after a year or so. So I'm telling you this on the front end, that this stuff works. People's results are very consistently, like the timelines are very consistent, very much the same. So trust me that I've been where you are. I've been at the beginning of this. A lot of people have been at the beginning of this too, and the timelines it takes is very consistently the same. Is about a couple of months or so before you start to see some momentum and just trust in that. And then after that, you'll be glad that you maintain that discipline and maintain that consistency. And if you continue that after the initial momentum, then it's that snowball that you have of passive income is going to continue to compound. So it's, picking one recipe, one method, and just trusting that it works. Because, like, why would I put in the effort to create all this content for a course to teach you something that doesn't work? That would just be like, you just have to think about, like, why would I put in effort and my own precious time to teach something that doesn't work and then try to sell that? Like, it doesn't to me, it doesn't make sense. And yeah, so like these are things that have worked for me, and the people that have trusted in these strategies, they've, it's worked for them as well. So yeah, just trust in the numbers and the timelines and stuff that I'm telling you, because I've this isn't something I've done just once. I've had years and years and years of experience, and so I'm not a newbie at this, and the people inside are the success stories are not newbies and stuff. So when you're starting out, it can be, you don't have enough vision and data to see that far in the future. But once you've, dabbled in this stuff and been patient, year after year after year, you start to recognize the same patterns, or at least I do. I'm really good at pattern recognition. So when the patterns are all very similar, then you start to kind of make some conclusions, and you're like, okay, this is about, the time, length of time that most people have to be patient before things kind of reach that tipping point and really take off. So that's the system that worked for me. But I wanted to share this story from my journey because I think it's really cool. And like, you can do it this way as well, or you can take this framework as an example. And I would definitely include the email list part, but you can swap out this traffic source, or you can, if that magazine still exists, like home business opportunities or something, maybe you can try that out as a traffic source and try that out as well. And one little thing to add here is, like, Larry, some of the opportunities that he promoted, they're varying prices and stuff, but I think he always had one that had like a high ticket opportunity. So that I would recommend that, trying to find affiliate offers or business opportunities that have high ticket opportunity, meaning they're going to pay like a commission of $500 to $1,000 or more, or something, if people convert and buy into them. That way, it will help you more quickly cancel out any kind of paid advertising costs that you have on as quickly as possible. So that's just a suggestion there. But I love the simplicity of just like one email a day that scales, like your reach scales every single day that your list goes up. So that's just really cool that you can show up every day, your action is the same, and it just compounds over time. And kind of mirroring this model of Larry's in this video with my process, because that's what it was able to do for me as well. And if you're interested in any kind of like paid ads and stuff, then this system, my system, can help you build that passive income momentum, that cash flow that you can then use to pour into different paid ad strategies, whether they're offline or online, to get you more exposure to the things that you're ultimately trying to promote, whether it's building your list or promoting some sort of affiliate offer. So it's just a great system that can help you build your own consistent cash flow, and use that however you want to. You can coast off of it. You can just use it as play money or your little fun money, or you can use it if you have like specific income goals. You can use it to help you build momentum faster by like buying more attention, again, through like paid ads, and just helping you scale faster. That more eyeballs, more attention is going to help you get more attention to your offers or your landing pages, or your building your email list, which is just going to help everything grow a lot faster. And several of my students have done that too. They've started with SEO and use it as a stepping stone to create their own offers, and then, you know, pour buy paid ads to fund their own offers, and then, you know, scale up to like 7 figures per year and stuff. So that's another direction thing that you can do. Or you can just continue doing this over and over again. A lot of people have done 6 and multi 6 figures a year, and you know, I know people that are doing 7 figures with affiliate SEO as well, but 6 figures is definitely an attainable and sustainable goal to hit with this strategy. So if that's something that sounds attractive and resonates with you, then check out SEOaffiliatedomination.com. You can learn more about our process. Click any of these buttons, it'll take you to a page where you can watch a presentation that explains the process a little more. And yeah, just wanted to share this system, this story from my life. I thought it was interesting when I met Larry, and it's just really cool. And and the other thing is, like, when I met him, he was like, "Yeah, I've been doing this for like 20 years or something." So again, I really respect the discipline and consistency, because it's like, wow, one same traffic source for like 10, 15, 20 years. That's insane. And just to have met him at that point in time, like, that's not something at that time I was pretty new. So just again, kind of like respect the, it's not even like the hustle, it's like you respect the consistency. So, you know, it had to have been working if he was that consistent, you know, with that one traffic source. So just, you know, things I was trying to make, I was really hard on myself at that time, because I was like, maybe I'm not making it because I'm not smart. I don't have some elaborate system. And when I saw how simple Larry's was, I was like, wow, maybe I'm making things too complex. You know, he's achieving my monthly income like dream, you know, multi 6 figures a year. That's incredible. And his system is super simple, and it's super inexpensive to run. Like, I mean, you're talking about hosting costs, probably like $100 or so per month in autoresponder, and you know, whatever monies initially it costs to sign up for the BizOps, and then you just the ongoing cost of like whatever it costs to maybe a couple $1,000 a year to advertise in this magazine, and that's it. That's like his overhead, and anything he makes over and above that is all profit. So you don't have to have some complex system to make, you know, 6 figures or more per year. So, and I certainly didn't myself. So, and this is how I did it for myself. And so once it happened for me, I want to share that with other people so that they could get the same results and breakthrough that I was able to. So hope you got some value out of this video. Hope you enjoyed this story, and you know, hope some of you are able to kind of take this information, run with it, create your own simple 6 figure per year system. And thanks so much for watching this video till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.